So as far as I'm concerned, and I've been told by FBI agents, I had an FBI agent call me in my office in Glendale and tell me, Jordan, we've been watching you for a long time. We know what you're doing. And as of this moment, this was quite a long time ago, about 12 years ago, but he said, as of this moment, the government, your government, does not consider you to be a threat yet. He said, but we're watching everything you do, everywhere you go, we're watching you, but we don't consider you to be a threat because people are hearing you, but they're not listening. So as long as people are hearing you, then you're all right. But when people start to listen to you, now that's different. Now we're talking politics. And so we'll have to take another look at you then. I have had federal agents talking to me about what I do. I've had FBI people talking to me about what I do. And I've been threatened by federal government. So I know what they can do, and I respect them because they will kill you. In this country, you can be killed. If you know something you're not supposed to know, or if you're talking about subjects you're not supposed to talk about, they will kill you. Now, first of all, they would prefer just putting you in jail, finding some misplaced comma on your income tax and send you away for 30 years. But if that's not going to work, then they'll just kill you. You'll be killed coming out of a restaurant one night, and there's some lone gunman, and everybody will be there sobbing at your funeral. And but the real story is they whacked you because you shut your mouth off. You're talking too much. You know too much, and you're talking too much. So I'm saying that America is in very serious trouble because the people have not been told what's going on. They haven't been told how this world works. The world, I'll give you some freebies. It took me 48 years to learn this. Well, let me tell you some of the secrets that I've learned. One is that nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. Nothing that you understand about this world works the way you think it does. It doesn't. Banks don't loan money. There are laws, federal laws, on the books today that say, very specifically, banks cannot loan money ever. That's the law. So what are you going to the bank to get a loan for when banks can't loan money? Logic alone would explain it to you. I'm not going to put $100,000 into a bank so that you can come in and borrow $100,000 for a new car on my money. No, thank you. You're not going to take my money to buy your car, and if you don't pay for it, I just lost $100,000. That's not the way it works. No, banks cannot loan money. So what happens is if you buy a new car, and say it's $40,000 car, every automobile or anything, house, motorcycle, doesn't matter what it is, must have an appraiser appraise that property or appraise that car. And so whatever that car is worth, say that car is worth $40,000, the appraiser said. So when you take that, so that paperwork is called commercial paper, and that commercial paper represents $40,000 of a business. You take that commercial paper, and when you say you want to buy this car, the car agency will take that paper and give it to the bank. The bank then takes that commercial paper, which represents $40,000, and opens up a bank account in your name. And it will forge your name. It will forge your signature because you can't open a bank account unless the person opening it signs it. So they will forge your name on a bank account, but they don't tell you that. Then they take the $40,000 commercial paper and deposit it in the account, the new account that they just opened for you. Because if you have a ring worth $40,000 and you get it appraised for $40,000, you can walk into the bank and tell the bank president, I want to deposit this ring and here's the paperwork on it. It's worth $40,000. I want to deposit that in my account. And they will take the ring and they will then put $40,000 in your account. Now you've got 40 grand in your account to do it, but they got your ring and they know it's worth 40,000, so they're not worried. They just give you credit. Yeah, and so therefore, the bank never loaned you anything. They just took the commercial paper, put it into a bank account, and then they wrote a check on it, because after all, now you got $40,000 in the bank, so now they write a check on it and give it to you, and you give it to the car agency. So you've paid them. No, you didn't pay them anything. Nobody paid anybody anything. Let me explain something to you. Suppose you are a painter, and I hire you to paint my office, and you say that it will be $100, and I agree to that. After the job is over, as a contractor, the way commerce is operating, in commerce, you come to me and you give me a bill for $100. I look at it and I agree to this bill, so I owe you $100. So what you're doing is you're giving me $100. You're giving me a bill for $100. I reach in my pocket and I pull out a $100 bill, and I give you a $100 bill. So now I paid you. No, I gave you a bill for $100. It's called a $100 bill. And if the charge was $20, then you give me a bill for $20. I'll give you a $20 bill. So now you owe me $20. You owe me $100. Yeah, I didn't pay you nothing. I discharged the debt because I discharged it. I cut off the charge because now you owe me $100. I just gave you a bill for $100. It's called a $100 bill, and you think you got paid. No, it's a bill. You owe me. And since you owe me and I owe you, we're even. So that's why, that's why you don't own anything.
Is it true we owns our IRS?
Oh yeah. Well, your body, your very body is a security on the New York Stock Exchange. Did you know that? Each one of you is worth over $6.5 million on the New York Stock Exchange right now. Let me show you something. You got a $1 bill? Give me a $1 bill. I want to show you something. Thank you. On the Social Security card, back in 1868, after the Civil War, a group of men got together and formed a corporation. Well, anybody can form a corporation. Anybody. So this group of guys got together. They formed a corporation in Delaware. It's a Delaware corporation, and they called the corporation the United States Corporation. And it was stipulated that anybody who would work for that corporation would be referred to as a citizen. So it's a United States corporation. And if you work for that corporation, you're a citizen. And so there today, when you walk in a bank or anywhere and they ask you, are you a U.S. citizen? You say yes. What you think they're asking you, are you lawfully in America to do business? They didn't ask you if you were lawfully in America. Like an attorney, listen to what they ask you. Because you're in court, be careful what you say before the judge when he says, are you a U.S. citizen? Because if you say yes, what you have said is that, yes, I am voluntarily, of my own volition, admitting that I am an employee of a foreign corporation called United States, which was incorporated as a Roman trust back in 1868, so that the United States is a privately owned company, like Ford Motor Company, General Motors. They're huge, they're big. Well, so is the U.S. government, but it's a privately owned corporation. And therefore, all corporations have to have a president. So we got a president. And corporate law says you have to have a vice president. So they got a vice president. And you also have to have a secretary treasurer. That's corporate law. So they got a secretary treasurer. It's a privately owned company, for God's sakes. It's like General Motors, Ford Motor Company, Sears, and the U.S. government. It's all corporate. It's a business. And consequently, your body is a security on the New York Stock Exchange because you're the security for what is referred to as the body social. That's why when you retire, you get Social Security because you are the security for the corporation. As long as you're doing your job and making money and paying them every year, you're good security. You know, you got money coming in. And so that's why you have to have a seat belt and the car, and you have to have insurance and a seat belt. Why? Because they love you and want to protect you? No. They own you. They own your body on the security on the New York Stock Exchange. So if you get in a wreck, now they got to pay you, for God's sakes. Now they got to take care of you. No, they want you to pay them, airhead, not them pay you. So they want you to protect yourself, and if you're going to be stupid and get in an accident, have insurance so the federal government will be paid for your stupidity of getting yourself in a wreck. So they get the insurance. So that's why you have to take care of yourself. I mean, once you understand how this works, well, anyway, this is a corporation. It's called United States Corporation. It's privately owned. So if you think for 1 minute, I'm going to go to Vietnam and fight for Ford Motor Company, you got another thing coming. No. For my country is a republic. Now that's different. But there's a world of difference between United States of America and United States. United States is a privately owned company. It's a corporation. The republic is different. It's a whole different world. So you need to understand how those different words are used. There's a world of difference between a trial by jury and a jury trial. Doesn't mean the same thing. There's a world of difference between California state and the state of California. Doesn't mean the same thing at all. So there's a world of difference between a lawyer and an attorney. Doesn't mean the same thing at all. You need to understand words. Study the world of occult terms and knowledge that attorneys and lawyers know that you don't know. Again, this is a corporation. It was founded in 1868 called the United States Corporation, privately owned. And if you're a member of that corporation, like any corporation, you're naturally going to have an ID card. So if you're walking around the plant, they will be able to tell you to actually work for Ford, and here's your code numbers. And so this is your certificate number in the corporation. But on the back, you will see a set of numbers on the back. On mine, it's red. And normally they're in red. Sometimes they're in black. Normally the numbers on the back are in red. Why? It doesn't matter what color it is. It's what it represents. It's in red because it represents your blood. These numbers are your body on the New York Stock Exchange. So when you have a dollar bill, an American money, you will see there's a code numbers on the bill. See the code numbers on the bill? When you put your numbers on the back of your Social Security card with the numbers on the bill, they're identical. So that your body is worth $6.5 million on the stock exchange, and it is the security for America's money. Your body is a security for the body social. That's why when you retire, you get Social Security. No, you are the security for the body of the corporation. And they're using your body on the New York Stock Exchange. And that's why this government has never cared about all the illegals coming in from Mexico. And they don't care about that at all. Why? Because the more the merrier. The more people that they get Social Security numbers on, that's $6.5 million more they just got. And so if they get 150,000 a day, times 6.5 million every day, the government's making money off of people coming in. They couldn't care less where you come in. They want documented workers so they can document you to get the credit through the international banking cartels out of London to pay them for you, because your body is a security on the New York Stock Exchange. So that's why there will never be any stopping of the illegal. Because look at, if the corporation called United States is a company, it's a corporation, and if you are doing something and making money, and you are not paying them, they can put a lien on you. It's called a mechanic's lien. You know, if you have a painter and he paints your house and you don't pay him, you can put a mechanic's lien. Meaning, he goes to the bank and says, I'm putting a lien on this house because they owe me $6,000 and they won't pay me. Which means you cannot do anything with that property until you pay him first. So if you want to sell the property first, but the first $6,000 goes to this man because he has a lien on you, because he did something for you and you didn't pay him. So therefore, if you are working in California, but you're not a U.S. citizen, you're not in the corporation, you become known as an alien, because they have now put a lien on you. You are now an alien. No, you're not an alien. They have put a lien on you. Words. It's magical, the way words are used. You go to court. Why do you go to court? You play tennis on a court. You play basketball on the court. How do you play tennis on a court? You play with a racket. Come on. Well, no, serious. You think that these lawyers dream up this stuff by chance? No. These guys are smart. They're playing a game, and you just don't know the game they're playing. So you go into a court. The whole idea of a court is like I said, basketball court is a game. This team stands up and throws the ball back in the other guy's court. And that team of lawyers throws the ball back in this guy's court. And the judges comes out, he's a referee because he's wearing a black robe. Black robes represent the planet Saturn, the lord of money and banking and law. Saturn was the god of banking and law. And his priest of Saturn always wore black robes. That's why the Catholic Church wears a black robe. That's why the rabbis wear black robes. When you graduate from high school, you wear a black robe. The whole idea of the Saturnian is called Saturn. The god Saturn was Lord of the Rings. So women were told to listen to their god, so they would wear an earring, because Saturn is the Lord of the Ring. And men were to get married before their god, so they wear a wedding ring. You need to understand there is a world of occultism, manipulation, exploitation of the human race with words and terms and symbols that you don't even know is happening right in front of you. So you've got a court. The whole idea in a court is a game to put the ball back in the other guy's court. And the judge is going to rule from the bench. The word bench is a Latin word for a bank. So he's ruling for the bank. Why? Because somebody's going to have to pay their debt to society. Somebody's going to pay. When the day is over, somebody's going to lose and they're going to pay. And the judge doesn't care because he's getting paid anyway, so he doesn't care. He's a referee. That's why he wears a black robe. And when the judge walks out, everyone rises. Why? The same reason when a Catholic priest walks out, everyone rises, because the Catholic Church operates under the same maritime admiralty law as a court in America. That's why in Catholic churches you always see 3 steps going to the altar. Those are the first 3 steps of the first degrees of Freemasonry, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degree. Once you're on the 3rd, you get the 3rd degree. Now you're going before the judge. It's the 3 degrees of Masonry. So then now you bring in the occult world of Freemasonry, all the secret societies of the Knights Templars, the world bankers, the religious orders. All of this stuff is connected thousands of years ago that you don't know anything about. And once you start seeing how in court the judge rules from the bench, which a bench is a Latin word for a bank. And where do you find banks if they're on both sides of a river? They're called river banks. What does a river bank do if it doesn't direct the flow of the current? See? Because your money is called currency. Because it's the cash flow, the liquid assets, the juice. And either you got it or you don't. Money goes through your hands like water. No, money is water. Maritime admiralty. Money, there are only 2 things on the earth. There's only 2 things on this globe. There's land and water. So we have 2 kinds of law. The ancient Romans set this up, and they said we only have 2 kinds of law: the law of the land and the law of water. The law of the land is the custom of the people who live on a particular piece of land. That's always different. So the law of the land is different everywhere. You can do things in Russia you can't do here, because the law of the land is different here. You can do things in South America you can't do in China, because the law of the land is different. The people live on the land. So the law of the land is the law of the culture that lives on that piece of land. But the law of water, no, water is the same everywhere. The law of water is the law of money. It's called maritime admiralty, the law of money. So you can get a credit card in China and go to South Africa for vacation. It doesn't matter. We're just talking money now. And banks are banks all over the world. So we're just talking money. Either you got it or you don't. So it doesn't matter what color you are, what race. Do you have the money? The credit card. So when you understand that the money is the law of water, let me give you an example of commerce in water. When a ship pulls into harbor, a ship is always female. Always a ship is female by law. Sailing ship, rocket ship, doesn't matter. If it's a ship, it's female. Why? Because she delivers the product. Okay? Without her, you don't have any product. So she is a term which is used for all ships. And so when the ship pulls into a harbor, it pulls in with, say, $800 million worth of Toyotas. Every one of those cars or televisions or whatever's coming in must have its own certificate of manifest, because yesterday the ship wasn't here. This morning they come to work and there's a ship here with $800 million worth of TVs. So it has manifested. So on the ship, she brought in $800 million worth of business. So she came in on water. Well, where the ship parks is at the dock. And where the ship sits is called its berth. She is sitting in her berth, right? And she is producing a maritime admiralty product because she came in on water. So therefore, each product has to have its own certificate of manifest, because she is giving birth to a product. So therefore, when you were born, you came out of your mother's water. Her water broke. And by law, you are considered a maritime admiralty product. She delivered you in the delivery room. She delivered the product. And so you came out of water, you're a maritime admiralty product, so you have to have a birth certificate. And the birth certificate's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is sitting, at the dock. So once you understand the words and the terms, and if you're born dead, if you're still born, then they just lost the TV, because take a car off and it falls down, yeah. And so you got to, if you on the car, on the television, whatever it is, how much does it weigh? What color is it? You know, does it have air conditioning? Is it 2-door, 4-door? Is it Mexican, or is it some other race of people? How much does it weigh? Does he have both eyes? Yeah. They have 5 fingers? Yes. And how much does he weigh? What color is he? Those are all the vital signs for a maritime admiralty product. Because for God's sake, they're going to sell you. They want to know, does this kid have 2 feet or what? Because if he doesn't, I got to have to pay for it. So you are a maritime admiralty product. And therefore, you are being bought and sold around the world today. And if you could get your original birth certificate back, the original, not the certified copy, get the original one back, you will see on all birth certificates at the bottom, this is a security document, goes directly to the Department of Commerce. And from the Department of Commerce, they put that directly out into the stock market of New York City, and now people are buying and selling your body, and you don't even know it. You're worth $6.5 to $7 million right now, and you didn't even know it on the New York Stock Exchange. But this is the type of stuff that most people don't know anything about, and there's a reason why most people have never heard any of this, because it doesn't have anything to do with football. It's got nothing to do with silly-ass sports and basketball and all that other silly-ass stuff that kids love to play. You know, that's what you've always given the kids, a ball. Tell the kids to go out and play ball. I don't care what ball, basketball, ping pong ball, football, golf ball. I don't care. Get the damn kid out of here and then go play with a ball. Give the kid and he'll go out and play ball. That's why they have the president of the United States. He goes out and throws the first ball because daddy's out playing ball with us. You know, while all the kids are out there, all the schmucks are out there watching the ball game. And daddy's out there with the senators and the congressmen. They're watching the ball game. I want to know what these freaks are doing at 2 o'clock in the morning that they haven't told us. I want to know about their boyfriends and all the money that's changing hands and all the shit that's really going on. That's where the name of the tune is. When you find out that these guys who are running the planet are playing us for a bunch of fools, let them go out and play ball. And send some movie stars, send some of them chumps that we own, send them out there and let them be on TV so you can see on the basketball games, they'll always show Jack Nicholson and some big movie stars at the ball game. Because that keeps all the schmucks interested to go out with the movie stars to watch a ball game, not me. I'm not going to any ball game. I'm going to an education at UCLA. I want to know who's running this country, how it works, who set up our government, who gave us our religions, where these religions come from. The whole idea of Christianity is nothing more than sun worship. I mean, the sun is our risen Savior. Of course the sun is your risen Savior. God's sun is you don't own the sun. Africa doesn't own the sun. So who owns the sun? Well, obviously God owns the sun. Well, then it's God's sun. And God's sun is the light of the world. Of course the sun's the light of the world. What the hell else lights the earth if it isn't the sun? So God's sun lights the world. He's the light of the world. He's our risen Savior. Of course it's your risen Savior. If it doesn't rise, you're dead in 6 weeks. So wait till it don't come up, and you'll see it is your Savior. And the sun, the Egyptians said the sun gives off energy, and energy is life. That's why you have the life of a battery. When the battery goes dead, no energy. So the Egyptians said the sun is pure energy. And it's giving its energy so that we might live. So God's sun is giving his life that you might live. Of course the sun's giving its life. It's giving its energy so that you can grow and the plants can grow. And once you begin to understand religion, where it comes from, the whole story of Jesus is nothing more than a metaphor. There was no Jesus, there was no Abraham, no Isaac, no Jacob. There was no Moses, no King Solomon. None of those people in the Bible ever lived. These are metaphors for something far deeper that the ancient writers were trying to tell you in a metaphor. There's a symbolic story. And if you don't get the symbolism, you will go for your whole life in trouble because you didn't know how to read the symbols. You don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. You drive down through Los Angeles and see all the spray painting on walls. You think it's a bunch of kids destroying property. No, no, no. Those symbols mean something. And if you don't know what they mean, you better stay out of the territory because they're telling you. If you come in here as a different particular race, that symbols mean we're going to kill you. And so if you're going on a bicycle ride in China, you better learn the Chinese symbols because you're going to get killed if you don't know how to read the symbols. And that's what most people don't know anything about, how this world really, in fact, works. But once you figure out how the courts work, education works. Education is nothing more than a 12-step program. Let me give you an example. In the ancient Egyptian religion, one of the many different religions in Egypt, the ancient Egyptian religion of Horus. Horus was the sun in its rising. He was a god, God the sun. And Horus was spelled H-O-R-U-S. And Horus walked across the sky in 12 steps. It was a 12-step program. That's why alcoholics have a 12-step program. You have a 12-step program. You go to first grade to the 12. It's a 12-step program. Then you graduate, which is two words, gradually indoctrinate. You put them together, it becomes graduate. So for the 12-step program, they have finally taught you what to kiss and when, and how to get and how to get a job, and who to bow down to, and all that. So they've taught you now, and now you can go out and get a job. It's the 12-step program, first to the 12th grade. What is that based on? Horus. Horus was our god, the sun god in Egypt. He walked across the sky in 12 steps. Horus is the first step, Horus is the second step, Horus is the third step. When he got in the Horus of the sixth step, he was directly overhead. He was then called Horus, the Most High God, because you don't get any higher than noon. So it's called High Noon, because he's the Most High. Why? Well, because after 1 o'clock, the sucker's going down. So he was the Most High at 12 noon. And so Horus walks across in 12 steps. So we say the same thing today. Same thing. We have 12 Horuses. But instead of H-O-R-U-S, we make it H-O-U-R-S. Becomes hours, changing the U and the R. Now it becomes 12 hours. No, it's 12 Horuses. And Horus represents light. The sun represents light. Light in Latin is Lucius. Lucius, when personified as a god, becomes Luke. And this is why you have Luke Skywalker. And he walks across the sky and meets his evil brother, Darth Vader, or in the Egyptian religion, Set. He was the god of darkness. The prince of darkness was Set. Why? Because it got dark at sunset. So the whole idea is that it's the whole world that we live in is based on Egypt, Mesopotamia, ancient Greece, ancient Rome. All of the stuff that we live in this world is based on ancient religions and cults and secret societies and Masonic orders, and the people of this world have no idea in the world what's going on. I've spent 48 years studying occultism, mysticism, words, terms, legal terms, government, international banking, theology, religions. I'm telling you, there's a world of knowledge you have never been told. That's been right there for you, but it just never occurred to anyone to sit down for 48 years and study this stuff in the dark. I mean, I have a high respect for all religions, for all belief systems, but I'm telling you, it needs to be based on wisdom and knowledge. Let me give you an example in the Old Testament. In Arabia, looking east, there's a huge mountain range in Arabia, very high mountain ranges in Arabia, in the middle of Arabia. And so the Arabian people on this side, looking east, every night the moon would come out of the mountain. The moon would rise in the east, and it comes up behind the mountains. So the ancient Arabians, talking about thousands of years ago, they believed the moon was a god. It was a moon god. And obviously he lived in a mountain. That's obvious because every night he comes up from the mountain. So he lived in a mountain, and his name, the name of the moon god in Arabia, was Sin, S-I-N, Sin. And a mountain in the ancient Arabic, a very ancient language, was Ai. It's translated Ai. Ai is a mountain in the ancient language. So the god Sin lived in his mountain Ai. You put them together, it becomes cyanide. No, there was no cyanide. There's a god Sin in the mountain called Ai. Airhead, wake up. It's just the worship of the moon god. This is why the Jews have their celebration after sundown, because that's when the moon god comes out. They're not going to have their holy days in the daytime. That's when the Christians are worshiping the sun. But God said you don't want to have your holy days when they're worshiping the sun on Sunday. With the Christians who worship in the sun, the Jews are worshiping the moon. So we wait till after sundown. Then we have our holy days. It's because of the moon god comes out, and it's in Sinai. And, and God, I could go on for hours explaining where these concepts and ideas have come from. That's why if you go to Israel and you go to a synagogue, it's not spelled S-Y-N, it's spelled S-I-N, synagogue. Because sin is the god of the moon, Gog, which is we get from that, the Gog and Magog or Gog. Synagogue is the house of the worship of the god Sin. Synagogue. S-I-N, not S-Y-N. So I'm just, huh? Oh yeah, I can sit and talk for days on this stuff.
Several days.
Yeah, I could sit and talk for days on this subject of religion, theology, where all of these things have come from. A lot of people ask me, well, where did you get this document or that document? Where can we read about this or that? Well, what I've done is I have downloaded. Give me that DVD. What I've done is I have, thank you. I have downloaded all my files in one computer. I got about 3 or 4 of them, but in one computer I have all my text documents, PDFs and all that. So what I've done is I've just downloaded all of my documents from my computer into a DVD. It's like, I don't know, 5,080 different items, 161 different subjects, 3.4 gigs of documents on religion, government, courts, just the crap in the world, everything. Everything is going on. It's all here. There's all the documents are all here, and you find out where all this stuff really comes from, and the worship of Saturn. Saturn was in the old Phoenician language. In the ancient area where we call Israel and Lebanon today was called Phoenicia. And in the old Phoenician world, they were worshipers of the planet Saturn. So when the Hyksos people that we call Hebrews today, incidentally, the word Hebrew is a derogatory term. It's like calling a Mexican a wetback. It's not a very nice term. And so calling someone a Hebrew is not, it's a derogatory term. And incidentally, the Jewish yarmulke, it's not Jewish at all. That's Roman. That's why the Holy Father wears the yarmulke. The cardinals wear the yarmulke. Rome was here before Jews. And so under the Roman Empire, the Jews were ordered to show respect for the Holy Father, or we're going to cut your head off. So you show respect for the Holy Father, you are under the Holy Father. So you show respect by wearing the yarmulke. So today we got Jews running around with yarmulkes thinking it's Jewish. Not Jewish. It's Roman. The entire system of religion is Roman. The white man's world has dominated the earth with religion. And the Jews think that they are a monotheistic religion. No, not monotheistic, henotheistic. Christians think that they've got a corner on the truth, and they don't realize it's just worshiping the sun. Let me give you an example. We got a couple of moments. Let me give you an example. I want to try and understand what I'm saying here. All of the religious concepts and ideas in Christianity and Judaism come from the Northern Hemisphere. We don't have anything in our Christianity or Judaism that comes from the Aztecs or the Mayas or the Aborigines of Australia. All of our concepts and ideas come from the Northern Hemisphere. Very good reason, because the whole thing of religion and Judaism and Christianity is astrology. It's based on the stars. That's what God is. Ask any kid where God is. He's out there. That's right, in the stars. That's what the Christianity and Judaism is based on, the stars. And so on the first day of summer, the very first day of summer, the sun is as high in the Northern Hemisphere as it's going to go. It's not going any further north than the first day of summer. Each day after the first day of summer, it begins to move 1 degree southward every day. It's so slight you'll never notice it. But 90 degrees later, or 90 days later, which is 3 months later, it's halfway down. So when he was high in the Northern Hemisphere, he started summer, and summer begins in the constellation of Leo. He was the Lion King. like Disney's Lion King. The Lion King is the sun in the constellation of Leo that begins summer. The Lion King, the lion of the tribe of Judah. It's Leo, the constellation of Leo in summer. The sun is hot, so he's the Lion King, Leo, the constellation. Now, 90 degrees later, 90 days later, he is falling. So now it's called fall. Yeah, because he was really hot. Now he's falling. So he's not that hot anymore. So now we call it fall because he's falling. What is the symbol for fall if it isn't Scorpio, the backbiter? And this is why in the old ancient world, when a scorpion bites you, they have two stingers, one on top of the other. And when they hit you, it looks like two lips. And then so the ancient people said, you just got the kiss of death. He just kissed you off. Because you just got bit by a scorpion, and that's the kiss of death. That's why the mafia gives you a kiss of death. That's where it comes from. So Scorpio is the backbiter. He's the one that goes behind your back and rats on you, and he's the backbiter and causes you to die. And that's what Judas was, the backbiter, Scorpio, because Scorpio begins fall. So Jesus, who was the Son of God, the God's Son, the light of the world, he was the Lion King in summer, but now he is falling. And so Judas is the backbiter who has now kissed him off. And now he's going to go all the way south, down the south, and die in Capricorn. When he goes all the way down south, he stops on December 22nd. On December 22nd, the sun hits the lowest degree on the earth, and it doesn't go any further south than December 22nd. On the 23rd and 24th, the sun rises on the exact same degree. The U.S. Navy has instruments that can show you it did not move northward or southward, but for 3 days, it stayed on December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th on the same degree. So the ancient Egyptians said the sun was moving all along, and anything that's moving every day is a lie, but now for 3 days, God's son is dead in his grave. He's dead. He's not moving. Then on December 25th, the sun moves 1 degree northward, which means it is now beginning its annual journey back to the northern hemisphere. So now we celebrate his born again. He's come back. After all, he said he would return. Well, he's out, the 25th, and move 1 degree. That means he's alive. As he comes back over the equator to the northern part of the earth, as he passes over the equator, the ancient Egyptians celebrated spring. And they said that the sun, we say today when someone dies that they passed away, or grandmother passed last night, or they passed on. Passed means they died. The Egyptians said that God's son, who was the light of the world, has died for 3 days. But he has come back to life, December 25th, Christmas. We celebrate God's son's birthday. Yeah, the sun's birthday. And as it comes back across the equator, we celebrate what is called spring, because now he is springing back to life. And so as it passes over the equator, the ancient Egyptians celebrated something called the Passover, because in the first week of spring, it passes over the equator. So it became known as the Passover. And so today we have Jews celebrating the Passover, which is the sun in spring passing over the equator. Well, the Christians have got to do the same thing. But they don't want to have anything to do with the Jewish religion, for God's sakes. Well, what would that look like? So they wouldn't have anything to do with the Jewish religion. So they have the Christian religion, which is the actual truth. And in the real truth, it's the resurrection, we say, of God's Son. The resurrection. And I say, what the hell are you talking about, resurrection? It came back to life. It's a resurrection. It's a Passover. Get out, get a life. It's just the sun passing over the equator, for God's sake. You know it better than anybody else. It's all worship of the sun. And so that's why in the Middle Ages and in the Middle East, in what we call Phoenicia, Cana, Egypt, they had a celebration in celebrating Easter, or what we call Easter. And it is actually Ishtar. Ishtar is the goddess who comes back, Ishtar, and so we celebrate her coming back. She's coming back to life, and as it passes over the equator, we equate that sun passing over the equator with Virgo, the Virgin. So God's son is now born of a virgin. Yeah, Virgo, the Virgin. And that's why Leonardo da Vinci, when he painted the Last Supper, and he has 12 apostles, The 3 and 3, 3 and 3. There are 4 groups of 3. Yeah, spring, summer, autumn, winter. Get a life. The sun's in the middle, and the sun's in the middle. This is why there's a 12 apostles plus the God's Son is 13. 13 is an unlucky number. It goes into Masonry. I could explain this whole thing, and there's so much to tell you. I don't even know where the hell to start with this stuff. I could go on for hours explaining how the Masons knew that they were going to overthrow the existing government in America in 1776. Because in ancient Hebrew theology, 8 was the number of new beginnings. 8. In the ancient Hebrew theology, 8, the number 8 was a number of new beginnings. You start things over on an 8. So 8 was the only number. 8 was the only number that you can continue to draw without picking your pen up, without picking the pencil up, because it goes on forever. So therefore, you lay an 8 down, it becomes infinity. It can go on forever. So 8 is the number of new beginnings, and 13 was in ancient philosophy. 13 was a perfect number for government. Perfect number is God's Son with his chosen 12. That's a perfect government. 12 apostles with their master of the sun is perfect government. So the Masons decided they were going to have their revolution against England according to the astrological symbols. They knew what they were doing. So they said the revolution must happen in 1776, and it must happen in July, because of the constellations that will be visible in the heavens in July will facilitate the revolution. They knew astrology. So they had their revolution in 1776, which is 1 and 7 is 8, and 7 and 6 is 13. So it's the perfect government based on the perfect number of 8 is new beginnings, beginning of something anew, and 7 and 6 is 13, a new government. So the Masons overthrew the British Empire. They knew they had to do it in 1776, and they had to do it at a particular point where the constellations were over the United States. It's a fascinating study of how the people who run this planet.
If you enjoyed today's video on Anonymous Official, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching and sticking with us.